Mile, another one of those New York distance runners as we get set for the 3,000-meter steeplechase, the championship for our high school girls.
Yeah, this is the race of the weekend on the high school side, Phil. I think it's absolutely loaded. Karrie Baloga is the lead candidate here, followed by Kiera O'Shea, Leah Stevens, Gillian Bushy, Alyssa Soro, Addison Ritzenhein, Jane Hidgren, Jolena Corzo, Leanna Johnston, Maddie Gardner, Chandler Walsh, Natalie McLean, Lindsay Hossman, and many, many more. That's a big list here, and they're all going for it in the 3K.
And again, that young lady wearing number 21, that is Karrie Baloga from Cornwall. Again, in what state? New York, of course. All these distance runners from the Empire State, and she is out in front in the inside alley. She is not waiting on anyone.
Yeah, she is a star outright, full stop, star out of Cornwall, Champ Sports National cross-country champion this year, and she's headed to Colorado next year, and I think she's trying to put her influence on the track season in a race like this, in a high-impact race like this at the Penn Relays. But Kiera O'Shea is the ultimate winner from Kentucky. Has done everything that you could ask for in that state, so it's going to be a battle between those two. And then I think the sleeper is Leah Stevens, currently U.S. number 13 in the 3,200 meters. She's a very good athlete out of Maryland. I think she's got a ton of talent.
So, again, a little change of perspective for the field and for the spectators. They'll start the 7.5 lap race in front of us and finish on what we're calling the back straightaway, these individual races. So, again, leading the way, Baloga from Cornwall, New York. A group of 4 has quickly separated themselves from the rest of this large field.
Yeah, and this is a good example. All right, so you come out into a race, what happens? Sometimes you have a plan, but you kind of have to react if something happens in the race, and sometimes you just have to move with the race. Now 4 girls have gone, with the leader, including the freshman Addison Ritzenhein of Niwot High School in Colorado. If the name sounds familiar, it's because it should. Dathan is her father, coach of On. She is a brilliant young standout in Colorado. I think she's trying to sort of find herself, prove herself a little bit in a place like this.
And looking back through the field on the main straightaway for them, we see some state championship runners in this field. So, but right now they're 25 to 30 meters behind.
Yeah, they do have time to make up, but you can't let that lead pack get out too far, right? As we talked about earlier, you can't lose a race in the first half, but you can't win a race in the first half, but you can sure lose it. So I think some runners who want to be in the mix, they definitely have to start moving up. And right there in that middle there in the red jersey is Gillian Bushy. I think she's trying to get back in contact with the leaders.
So our leader, Baloga, again, she's a taller runner, but just the way she carries herself, she looks so mature for a high school athlete, as you said, going to Colorado. And she's going to fit right in to that program in Boulder.
Yeah, very poised, confident. I mean, her father was a head coach for North Rockland for a long time. Your parents are both in the sport. I mean, she grew up with this sport. It's not a surprise why she's kind of lended herself there as well in her teenage years. But yeah, she runs confidently. She's the runner-up of this race last year, running 9:31. So I think she understands, what needs to happen in order for her to win.
And again, that hard rain still falling in Philadelphia this afternoon, a Friday afternoon, day number 2. Sponsored by On, the 127th running of the Penn Relays presented by Toyota. Our lead group of 4 with a 5th runner not too far behind, but again, that chase group has really splintered and is just single file running.
Yeah, I think Bushy is going to find contact. The front group has settled into a pace. Of note in the chase back here, kind of breaking out in the blue, is Jane Hedegren. She is from Utah. Her family also, ran at BYU. Her father's a Hall of Famer at BYU, and she's carving out her own path right now in the sport.
If you're Addison Ritzenhein, you're sitting there off the shoulder of the leader, someone that you know is the talent in the field. What type of final instructions do you think she might have received from her dad going into this race, considering the conditions and just being at Franklin Field?
Can only speculate. I definitely wouldn't know, but I would think, if he is giving advice, it would be to just sort of stick with the leaders, and don't let them get out of contact, and if they make a move, try to make a move with them. And at some point, you will know when you have to sort of, take it up a notch, right? And I think she's going to find herself here with this pack, and she'll see how strong she is in a race like this.
So on the clock, 4 minutes and 30 seconds coming up on the midpoint, not too far away.
Yeah, and Baloga is running out front here. I would be a little, just careful of Stevens on her outside. Stevens, as we said, kind of sneaky talent here on the outside. She definitely has some speed, and she's now running right on the shoulder of Baloga, kind of pressing her a little bit to keep that inside position.
So 4:45, 1600 in about 5:02 it looked like. And our lead group still 4 with the number 5 and 6 runners really just in the shadows, so to speak, of our lead group, which is now, is it down to 3, Corey, do you think?
I think Ritzenheim will kind of will try to stick with them as much as he can. Hedengren might make some movement there too. And a lot of high school races like this, become sort of sit and kicks, right? You wait till the very end to make a move because you can lean on that speed. I think this could come down to a final, 2 laps maybe if somebody makes a surge on the group.
So again, Baloga's still in front, but she has Ritzenheim right on her shoulder.
And we haven't talked about O'Shea yet much, but she has been working a lot on her 800-meter speed this season. She's run 2:15, so she definitely has the ability there to make a strong move. O'Shea is headed to the University of North Carolina next year as well, so a future ACC runner on this track. So our lead trio battling it out in the rain at Franklin Field, in a new number 4 moving up into contention. Yeah, that's Hedengren of Utah. Just was patient with it, made sure, she didn't overdo it, didn't, move too quickly, trying to make up all that ground. And I think she's put herself in a good position to attack here at the end of this race.
All right, so Lee Stevens, wearing number 23 from Good Counsel, side by side with Karrie Baloga from Cornwall. And looking back through the field, those are our top 6 runners.
I think this is a point in the race where you might want to start making movement. You want to separate a little bit from this pack, because if it does become a sit and kick, then the fastest runner on the day wins. So if I'm Karrie Baloga, I think I want to move a little bit at this point, because you only have 2 laps left.
All right, it is a lead group of 4, and they're pushing it, coming up on 7 minutes and 30 seconds, about 2 minutes of running remaining.
Yeah. And we knew this race was going to be one of the top high school events of the Penn Relays, and it hasn't disappointed here with 4 top-level talents really going at it.
Still, every step of the way, Karrie Baloga from Cornwall, New York, has been in the lead. She retains that number 1 spot, getting a little bit of, we'll say, rain in between her and her closest pursuers. That's Leah Stevens from Good Counsel, now moving into the number 2 position. Make that now a big move by Hedengren from Utah. Now the number 2.
I think Baloga, though, at about 600 definitely started to surge, because she sensed that was the time to do it. She's definitely separating from the pack. Hedengren just trying to make sure she can stay with her.
So it is Karrie Baloga from Cornwall, New York, second a year ago. Can she be the number 1 runner in the girls' 3,000 meters at the Penn Relays in 2023?
Sometimes it's a lot to hold on to that mantle as the favorite, the number 1 athlete, the star that everyone is looking at. But Karrie Baloga has done a wonderful job kind of dealing with that pressure and still succeeding in every race she goes out to. She has a chance here to win this 3K here at Penn Relays.
So 8:46. With less than 200 meters to go, the Penn Relays record 9:15.3, going all the way back to 1985. I was in college back then, Corey.
And that was last achieved by Kathy Shiro. I think we're going to get a really good performance from Baloga in the nearly downpour here in Philadelphia. It's definitely that toughness, that grit that you got to bring to Philly.
And smiling at the end, the champion, Karrie Baloga from Cornwall, New York, led every single step of the way. 9:20.75. Hedengren 9:24.56. O'Shea at 9:26.90. Leah Stevens 9:29.26. So the top four under 9:30.
An 11-second improvement for Baloga year over year. That shows the kind of development that has come from her just in a year's time.
And the young lady from Colorado, Ritzenheim, finishes in the number 5 spot, 9:41.75. So again, a field loaded with state quality athletes. Those who are going to be on the podiums in their state all had to follow Karrie Baloga from Cornwall, New York.
She's just racking up the awards this year, Phil, from race to race.
And again, not an easy day to run a fast 3,000 or an 800 or whatever, just with wet shoes from the start. You're soaked, but she stayed with it, stayed with the program, and didn't worry about who was breathing down her neck at all.
Yeah, that takes a lot of poise, and it takes a lot of, I think, maturity to do that.
So we have reached the end of our girls high school championship portion of the program this afternoon, waiting for the opportunity to get a few words with our champion, Karrie Baloga. After that 9:20.75 performance, just a handful of seconds off the record that has stood since 1985.
Wow. Not surprising there. Some notable performances from the race here. Jelena Corzo, 9:51. Alyssa Soro from West Virginia, 9:49. Sophia McGinns from 9:48. Allie Krister, 9:47. And Jillian Bushy, 9:44.